Hello. It's time. We're back. We're back for a stream. It's been a long time since I've done a stream, but today we are going to make great progress in the game. Let me just make sure the audio is working fine. Let's see. I think. Let me just change the thumbnail here. I think we're nearly good to go. Let's do testing the audio, testing the audio, testing the audio, testing the audio, testing the audio. It's got a loop back on there. It's got a loop back on there. Let's see. We turn it on. Let's see. Testing the audio, testing the audio. Just audio off, okay. We're good there. Testing. We're gonna turn that down a little bit. Okay. That should be good. We should be good to go. Okay, testing. Okay, testing. Okay. Sounds good. We are ready to go. Okay, so today the plan is, hello Isaac Eyes. Today the plan is to work on some new items, and then also get the loot, because get the loot like acquisition working. Because right now when you collect loot it's kind of jank, so we should work on that. I'm excited. I've never really actually streamed game dev, so this is gonna be great. Let's post an update in the Discord server. Okay. First, we need to get some art. I was experimenting with kind of music-themed items, and I think that it can work, but I don't want them all to be music-themed, because I think there's just not enough instruments to try out. So, I don't really like this harp. We might keep the banjo and maybe the flute and put in like a pan flute, but we're gonna get rid of that bass drum since it looks absolutely ridiculous, and then the harp. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. Yeah, so I had this idea where all the items would be instruments, and then your attacks would be like magical music. And I was like, that's a unique idea. That'll probably do well, marketing wise. You fight with music, but I think that just design wise, it's gonna feel bad in the end because we're trying to make all these different weapon types only through instruments, and there's only like a select number of instruments, and that's not to mention that I want there to be item variations, like items that have special effects like flaming or something. And then how do you implement that with a instrument? I mean, I'm sure it's possible, I don't know if it's the best idea. And I've kind of always had the vision of the game, and like it would kind of change away from that vision. I don't know. I mean, I think that instruments is a cool idea, but we need to not do only instruments. That would be the idea here. So I'm just switching out these sprites that I had been using. Right now, there's the sword, the bow, and the hammer, and those are the items that are kind of available in the game to pick up. I have the spear kind of implemented, but you haven't been able to use it previously. So I'm going to go ahead and enable the spear, and then I'm going to get work on a few new weapon ideas. So I am thinking of a pan flute, a whip, and a boomerang, because I want the weapons to be like pretty unique. Like there's a basic sword, of course, but then after that there's like they'll each be like hopefully really special in their own way. And the katana, I forgot about katana, but I think I'll work on that later. Basically the whip, I was talking with my friends and we were talking about Terraria whips, and I was thinking, what if there's a melee weapon that combines with a ranged weapon? And so the whip, what it would do is it has a set range, slightly longer than like the normal sword, but you do more damage the farther you are away. So you want to hit that sweet spot of just right on the edge, but it is a melee weapon. So I feel like that would be interesting. And then the boomerang will bounce off of enemies and come back to you. Because my friend was doing a Minecraft mod where he created a boomerang, and it just looked really cool. And I was like, yeah, we're making a boomerang weapon. And then the pan flute, I was thinking it'd be like bullets that target the enemies themselves. So like you don't really like you aim, but it's more of like an auto targeting. So that'll be interesting. It's like a more magical. It still has the musical instrument type feel, but not all musical instruments. And then the katana would allow you to deflect bullets, so back at the enemies, and like use them as your own bullets. I feel like that would be really cool. Like if there's a boss attack, you could just parry the attack, which would be really interesting. So that's what I want to look at. I feel like the katana is going to be hard to implement, just networking wise, but everything else I don't see too much difficulty, except the pan flute might be difficult because bullets are what we call client-sided right now, so they have to all work the same. I guess they don't technically have to, but we want it to work nice if they all path the same. Okay, so we need to name this the spear. Let's name that bow, sword, yep, and hammer, and just make sure these are working. So yep, there's the bow. There's the hammer. I probably messed up all the offsets on that, didn't I? I'm gonna like pull out the sword and it's gonna like look like it's gonna look like he's holding it very strange. Oh yeah, and the height needs to be even, otherwise there'll be some weird pixel movements. Like that. Hammer is also not perfect, so we'll fix that. And then the bow is looking good. Okay, so if we go ahead and we hit play right now, Ah, yes. Okay. Okay, that's not looking bad. I don't know if that's the correct way that's supposed to be holding it, but it's not looking terrible. I think it's supposed to be out farther, though. Let's close these. Okay. Hammer. Yeah, so basically, in the items, they have like this swing handle, and what we want to do is have it slightly off-centered from that, so it looks like you're holding it at the handle there. So if we do -4, that should be good, and we'll pull it out some. Yeah, we'll go ahead and test that. Yeah, also, we're in Godot, which is somewhat newish, not completely newish. I was using Unity, but then I wanted to try Godot, and it was looking good. And it's going great so far. Haven't run into any issues with it. It's pretty nice. With the compilation times are a lot less. It was getting really bad on the Unity. Okay, yeah, that's looking good. Let's give the player the sword to make sure it's looking good. Okay, yeah, that's not off. That's not centered. Let's see. We gotta go to the sword here. Let's pull this up. Oh, actually, we should offset this. -1. Is that what the handle? -5. Let's do -5. Okay. Great. Okay. Here, that should fix the sword. Yep, well, that's looking good. Okay. So it's time to work on the whip. Now this is gonna be interesting because it uses a different projectile than all of the other ones. All of them are kind of using a base projectile that that you reuse the script. So let's go ahead. Let's make some art. We can just reuse the sword art for now. So let's go sword. Let's go ahead and duplicate that. Whip. I think this is gonna be. I don't know. I just have a feeling this is gonna be a pretty interesting item. I hope it's quite fun to play with because it has that quirk to it, which makes it so that there's a bit more skill than just spamming. Actual positioning, because in my playtesting so far, I found that that positioning is the most fun aspect of the game, and then working on your positioning around other players is how we're gonna make this really fun. So that's kind of like the main goal of how do we get players to position themselves and think strategically about where they're going. And I've done that with the enemies, so like having the slimes that jump around and aren't able to be hit while they're in the air, so they force you to move while they're doing the attack. And then the rollers that roll past you, and so you kind of have to dodge out the way if you're being faced by a bunch of them. Or the birds, which will kind of swarm you, and it kind of like a counter to the hammer, but it's not bad because it's really, we only have some basic enemies in because it's the first room. I don't want to make it too hard, but then again, as I play the game, I get better at it because I just play test the game, and it starts feeling interesting and boring if not interesting and boring to me because it's so easy. But I gotta realize that I've been playing the game a lot, so I gotta keep it easy. All right, let's code this. Okay, so this should be good. We should be fine. I don't think we need to script a new we shouldn't have to script a new weapon type for the whip. It's just simple delay and stuff. But I think we do need to script a new projectile script. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we'll do whip projectile goes into there. Whip projectile should have just plain projectile. Yep. Okay, so let's go ahead and extend this. We'll need to make a let's see, whip projectile. And we'll go ahead and whip projectile. Extends projectile. Okay, so we got to delete all of that, all of this, probably all of this. In fact, let's just delete everything because it's got the base already there. And on this projectile, let's have a get damage function that gets overridden. That way, public void get damage. It should probably be internal, actually. Internal, we gotta make this virtual, get damage, return damage, and then, oh, we gotta make this float. Right. Where damage is used, I believe enemy handles the damage. Health message that get float, damage RPC, damage, projectile dot damage. So we'll do get damage. Actually, probably we should make this public. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That should be good. Let's go to the player and make sure theirs works for that too. Damage projectile dot get damage. Good. And then for the whip projectile, what we'll do is we'll keep a timer of its lifetime and we'll increase the damage as it gets older. So we'll do float, we'll do damage and public. I'm going to export this, make this a float, and we'll go ahead and call this damage increase. We'll need some sort of visuals to communicate that it's getting more powerful, probably like an increase in size, but that will come later. One thing I've learned, and I made a video about this, is you really want to not focus on the visuals immediately, but gameplay comes first, always, and then try and reuse. That's why I skipped making the whip thing. And sometimes it's nice because you get a general idea of what you're trying to make, but at the same time, I know what I'm making for the whip. I have it written down in my plans, so and I have it in my mind. So damage increase. Base damage is probably 1. We'll make this like a 0.1. Make this how about a 0.2 increase damage per second. Actually, let's make it big just to double check. And then we'll override to get damage. We'll also need to override the ready function and public override process. So make sure that base, okay, so damage we set to damage, and then we'll just increase the damage. Damage plus equals damage increase times, we gotta cast it. It's a little bit annoying that all of the Godot process functions have a double delta, because floats I just think are nicer to use. But you know, it is what it is. Oh, I guess that works. Plus equals, we'll just plus equals to this. Yeah, okay. That should be good. And then all we have to do is return damage. I believe that's it. I've been kind of dreading coding that, but things are just so much simpler once you get around to them. Okay. Actually, we need to give the player the whip to actually use. So let's go into player, give them the whip item. And just to differentiate real quick, we'll make this, let's see, visibility, we'll just make this red, just to show that we're using the whip. Because I can totally see myself thinking that I have the whip, but it's just the sword, and then not actually. Okay, let's print out the damage that these take, just so we can make sure we're doing it right, instead of relying on visuals. Damage, get damage. Okay, so we'll just do gd.print that. Okay, let's see if the new item is already working. This will be a record implementation of anything. Okay, 1 damage. I don't think it's working. Interesting. Did I not give? Oh, I probably didn't even get the projectile. Yeah, it's just a normal projectile. Okay, so let's quick load the whip projectile. Yeah, okay, that works. Nice. And I'll make sure that the sword, it's got the same stats, just for right now. Okay, it's looking good. Okay, yeah, crisis averted. Double check this now. 6 damage. Wow, that was powerful. Okay. I think we may have made it too powerful. That's just a little hunch that it can one-shot. But I guess that's good for testing. So it one-shots at the end, but if we go right up next to the enemy, it should not one-shot, so let's wait for them. Okay, yeah, 1.5 damage. Okay, that's perfect. That is perfect. Okay, so let's give it a like a less base damage, and then it 100% needs a much less damage increase. I think that it should do maybe double damage, which probably 1.5 times damage, a normal sword if you hit it perfectly, and then less if you don't. So let's see, 2 damage. Okay, you know, that's fine with me. That seems good. I was able to kill that in 2 hits with proper positioning. Okay, 2.5. Perhaps that's a bit too much. Let's tone that down. Actually no, let's not tone it down that much. Right, we don't want to make it, we want to make it powerful enough that like there's a point in using it. Let's go ahead and take that. There's a point in using it. 2.9. Interesting. Okay, so you can really get a lot. You can nearly one-shot if you do it right. Let's see. 2.1, 2.1. Okay, that's looking good. That is indeed looking good. Damage plus equals damage increase. Okay. Oh, that's why it's so high, because I didn't multiply by delta. What am I doing? Yes, okay. Sweet. I was wondering why it was so inconsistent. Okay. Let's see. Guess we'll have to retest the values. Ooh. Okay, yeah, that's not powerful enough. We'll give it a damage increase of, I think that should get to 1.5 damage, which should be, if you hit it perfectly, 0.7, 1.1. Yeah, it needs more. That'll need. Yeah, I feel like one of the most difficult things about working on the game is like, I want things to be fun, but at the same time, it's hard to tell when I'm just playing alone. Because it's a multiplayer game, right? But, like, I guess the fact that that I still have somewhat fun, even after playing it on the easiest, like, easy enemies, just alone is somewhat fun. It's really good. And then, I guess, Well, when I play with my friends, it's really fun. Like we have a great time. So that's a really good indication. It's just hard to tell if what you're making is actually fun. Because when I play the games, I'm like, yeah, this is fun. But when I play my game, it's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased. Looks like we got some issues here. Get Notepad. NWC clients. And probably just some networking stuff. I've been dealing with that for a while. Like when it dies and it's trying to send an RPC. Those in error. It should be fine. Okay, well, that's great. We already have the whip. Let's go ahead and make some art for it. Yeah, we can get rid of this. I don't want to need that. Oh, and the crossbow. I have art. I've had art for the crossbow for a while. But I have no idea what to do with it. I have no idea what gameplay. Previously, I had it like three damage, 3 shots at once. But that's just like a shotgun. It's just like a low-tech shotgun. I don't know. It wasn't very interesting. But I mean, how can I guess it's an interesting thing. How can we expand to have weapons that are like really unique? And I think like the whip here, where it does more damage outside the range, like that's unique. That's its own thing. But then like the crossbow, where it just shoots 3 bullets, that doesn't seem too unique. Okay, we need to look. What is a? We need to get some reference in here. What does a whip look like? Okay. So we'll probably need to have some curl. Like a main handle and then a curl. Let's see, this is gonna be hard in pixel art. Generally, Google's really terrible for pixel art reference because they get stuff that's like just not very good. I guess maybe we should look at Terraria. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and draw this thing. On art, okay, so for art style, I've been working on this art style recently for a little bit, and it's nice because this double outline allows you to like have some nice shape to stuff and makes it really easy to tell apart between different items. But at the same time, is like you'll have something that's small, like this flute, and it makes it like really big. So that's one of the challenges. I guess we'll do a circle real quick. And then we'll just have like just like a part that extends. That looks ridiculous. Probably too large of a circle. But then again, it's kind of small. I guess we have a circle and then we cut out the inside. Like that. That's off-centered. Yeah, that could work. Although it's kind of massive. I think it's a bit too big. Here, let's make it smaller. That works, I think. Okay. I guess it's not even too important. If it looks really good right now. Let's see. I'm gonna give it like a handle. I don't know, should it even be rolled up? Like, maybe it should be... Because, you know how I don't know if you've ever seen a whip, but, like, sometimes it's just, like, curled like that. Like, that could work. Yeah. Mark each enemy and wait a second or two for the attack to finish, and all marked enemies take damage. Oh. That actually... Wait, that is an interesting idea. Did you make that pro... Oh, interesting. It works in reverse too, more damage to fewer enemies you hit. So like the crossbow, it would do more damage as you hit more enemies. Okay. Wait, I kind of like that. And then it's like kind of a hunter's item where, oh, that's interesting. I like that idea. I really like that idea, actually. Yeah, you guys are cooking right now. Wait, hold on. Actually, I think I should be able to implement that in just a second. But I want to make this whip first. Let's see. Gotta have like a little curl. It gets really thin at the end. Look at this. Yeah, that works, I think. Kind of. How terrible is this looking? Is this what is this what a whip looks like? I mean, kind of. Although this shape at the end. Okay. This shape at the end is kind of terrible. Not. I don't even know. I feel like. I think that's okay. I think that just looks terrible. I guess it doesn't matter. We can do more art later. Let's just go ahead and put this in the game. Not even have an outline on it. Yeah, whips are just like a long line, but then it's curled. I will probably have to add an animation for it too, like an extension animation. But that should be easy. It's literally just a line, like you said. Okay, let's go ahead and create that sprite. Just duplicate the sword. Whip. Oh, it looks like a cane. It just looks like a cane. Okay. Okay, whip. Here we go. And we'll also have to make a custom projectile for it too. Although, oh, that's interesting. Because the whip kind of, its damage doesn't come from a projectile. It comes from, like, it's self-extending. Yeah, I'm gonna look at the Terraria. I was looking at the Terraria, art. I should pull that up. That's a good idea. I don't know why did I stop pulling that up? Okay, but yeah, whip art is in. Oh, it looks perfect. Look at that. Okay, let's pull up cherry art. Whips. Oh, okay. So it's like that. Oh, I see. That makes it doable, I feel like. And it lets you like kind of customize. Let's get that out of here. Customize the rope here. There's not. Is this all? Is this really all? I feel like there'd be more. Yeah, you like the double outline? Yeah. It's I was hesitant to try it at first. I saw someone else doing a double outline, but they had a higher resolution pixel art, so like it looked physically less thick. But I think it works. We can't make things that are too small and then add an outline, because then it's like it just looks ridiculous. But yeah, okay. Well, I mean, like, why do they have things on the end? I mean, like, I feel like I don't even know if that's a whip. That's a morning star. But, like, if you look at whips, right, they have the little tails. Right? I mean, we could do a mace, but a mace, I feel like, yeah, we could definitely do a mace weapon. But theme-wise, doing more damage farther out, is more sense for whip. Or a flail. We might even just call it a flail. But yeah, right, these do look like flails. But here, this leather whip, let's see. Can we enlarge this? It's not looking so good. It's all blurry. Copy this. Paste that in. Okay, so they have a little handle. So let's go ahead and start yoinking some Terraria art. So they draw like a handle like this. We'll just extend the back and the top, and then it comes out and around this. Okay. So we're just gonna have to smooth this out. Okay. I feel like this is better. Needs to curve a little bit this way though. And then this. Oh, this feels wrong. That's better. Yes, we're making progress. I mean, compared to what it just was, that was kind of sad. Okay, that should be fine. Let's do a little bit of shading on this. Yeah. Shading, I feel like everything looks so incomplete, and you just add a little bit of shading, and it already just looks so much nicer. Not yet though. Let's put an outline around this, and then okay. Yes. There we go. Now the profile, like the general shape of it is kind of wonky. It's in a sprite. There's a feature. You can either go to filter, sprite. Let's see, where is it? There's something in here, or you can do Shift O, and it'll automatically do an outline. And you can customize like where it puts the outline and stuff. And then I just selected it, so oh my god. We need some highlights. I do agree. Let's put some metal on it. Let's put some metal on it for decoration. Probably just like a metal tip. I don't know if normal whips have like metal tips or not. But this is a fantasy game. We can make whatever we want possible. Put some like that. And then we're gonna need some metal would be on the handle. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. We put like here. I don't know if that. I feel like we need to curve this a bit. So how's that looking? Not too bad. I feel like this shape needs to be cleaned up. Would you know it was a whip if I didn't tell you? That's a good question. What do you think? What do you guys think? Does this look like a whip if no one told you it was a whip? I mean, we can see this is what it kind of looked like in. We can see. Let's see what it looks like in game actually. Here, let's just boom. Okay. Let's go ahead and fix the atlas on that. A weird slingshot. Make it say whip with reverb and then you pick it up for the first time. Wait. Oh. Oh. Look at that. I think it's facing the wrong direction. Among other issues. Get one of the big clickbait arrows. You know, you're right. Maybe it does need some animation, and you know, it would be pretty funny to have a gag just about this being a whip. It'll be like a random chance. That is ridiculous. Well, here, I think that the pivot is really. He needs to hold it by the actual handle. -4, -2. Okay. Okay, it's looking worse now, guys. Honestly, we shouldn't worry about the visuals, okay? The functionality is there. We got Jason, my boy, tuning in. Yes, this is a whip. This is the greatest whip art you've ever seen. Don't worry. You'll never see anything greater. However, we're going to move on. We're going to move on to a new item. So I like what Eternal was saying about the crossbow doing more damage as it hits if you hit more items. I want to implement that, but I don't want to implement that just yet. I'm gonna save that in a minute. I want to work on the boomerang, which is probably gonna be a little bit complex because its projectile bounces around. We have the spear working, so that's good. Yeah, let's do the boomerang as the next weapon, and then we'll work on some stuff. You can also make it pierce each enemy it goes through. For the crossbow, anything. Actually, all the weapons do piercing right now. 5 seconds to mark as many enemies as you can, and the timer ends. All that take damage. I think that would be interesting because okay, I'll show you. Let's see. Let's just get the sword up here. I'll show you a little bit of gameplay too as I explain this. So in the game, you have what happened to the sword? Why does the sword look like the whip? Okay, I don't know what's going on. The sword has become a whip. We're just going to what? Just a better microphone quality, probably, Vitro. But okay, we don't worry about that art right now. The point is, in the game there's both weapons, and there's what's called trinkets. And trinkets are like power-ups that you can get, and they're supposed to not be very common. If you've ever played Risk of Rain, they're like the red items. Okay, so here's the trinket area. Just debug right now. So there's each of these trinkets have different abilities. So the wings make you faster, the Ankh heals you, and when we collect them, this is all just experimental right now. Let's go ahead and take the wings because it's apparently obvious. It makes you significantly faster. I don't know if you can tell, but I can feel that I'm significantly faster. And so these trinkets will give you power to your character and also to your items. So like Ethereal, what you were saying is like kind of a marking system. That could be cool as a trinket, like Trinket of the Hunter or something. Oh, here's another trick. Here's one that gives more damage. So in 2 hits now, I kill enemies instead of my 1 damage because it doubles the damage. So that's kind of how we can create depth, is by having abilities, kind of like you were saying, and then items. Okay. Yes, as a trinket, I think. Yeah, I agree. I think it would be better as a trinket too. And so yeah, there's a crow and there's okay. Let's work on the boomerang. You should definitely make some trinkets that encourage teamwork. Yes. Okay, so that is one of the main design issues that I have. Is how do you make trinkets and weapons encourage teamwork? So right now the Ankh, it heals you, but it heals you more if you're near other players, when you're next to teammates, like Vitro's saying. It's not immediately apparent. I think I need to make it more obvious that it actually is happening. I was like, visuals are how you communicate what's actually happening in the game, but you know, it is what it is so far. I can just explain it right now. That doesn't give you damage, but teammates around you damage. Yes, okay. So, that's hold on. That's also an interesting thing, because the game has to work in single player and also multiplayer. So the question is, how do we do that? I think that's why for the Ankh it heals you, but it heals you more when you're next to other players. So like what you would say is damage, like where you help out other players, you do damage, but you also do more damage. Like that's the difficulty I face. And perhaps this is an issue that I need to, instead of trying to fix it with designing of items, we need to fix it with just saying, okay, this is a multiplayer game. Worry less about single player. Minions could also benefit. That would be a system that would help benefit. Yes. It would add complexity. Maybe a heal boost, but a shorter cooldown. There is no cooldown. It's just passive abilities. I'm just thinking passive abilities would for trinkets, because I don't want you to have like extra buttons, too many buttons, because theoretically this should be easy for controller, mobile, computer, basically only movement and clicking. How does healing work? Okay, so the health in the game is not actually like 3 hearts. It looks like it's 3 hearts, but you have like, yeah, there's fractional hearts. The enemies only actually do 1 damage. Your healing will heal part hearts though. I believe there's half hearts. You might be able to see that as if I take damage and get the Ankh. But and then you will be able to get more hearts. So that was another point that my friend was pointing out to me, was that the heart, if you have continuous health, should you have hearts? Because it makes you think you only have 1. But I think hearts are easier to think about than just like a health bar. Like, oh, I have 3 hearts, rather than I have, like a 3/4 of my health bar, right? Okay. We want to do the boomerang. Oh, and also fix. For some reason, the whip and sword sprites are duplicating. I'm not sure, because whenever I change this whip, right, it's also changing the sword. No, was this just a bug? Okay, I think it was just a bug. Yeah. Okay. So the whip is what? What happened to the whip sprite? We'll just drag that on there. Okay. Let's work on the boomerang. Do you have a gimmick in mind for the boomerang? I was thinking that if you hit an enemy, it bounces off to another enemy. Well, which is the boomerang, right? But I wonder do you have any ideas on how we could make it so the bouncing is interesting? because there's, of course, it bounces and comes back, but maybe it bounces off of 2 enemies specifically and comes back. I'm not sure. I think, yeah, with the bouncing thing, if you have ideas, I'd be happy to hear them. Let's also get rid of this debug statement here. And let's start working on the boomerang. So we'll just go ahead and duplicate sort. So, boomerang. Yeah, so weapon ideas, I really think, and also how you acquire weapons. So right now, every time you reach an altar, you have the option. You have the option of picking up a weapon, and I'm not sure if you should be given the option. Oh, hello, add-on. Or you should be forced to pick a new weapon, because I know players want choice, right? And so if you have like a weapon you like, you kind of want to hold on to that. Oh, let's go, Lucy. But also I want you to mix up your gameplay style, right? I don't want you to fall into one specific weapon and then get kind of bored from that. So that's also another interesting thing to think about. Okay, let's do this boomerang real quick, because the whip was pretty easy to make gameplay wise, and I think the boomerang is not going to be too much difficult. I mean, this weapon is probably already working. We just need to go ahead and create a new projectile for it. So boomerang projectile, and plug that in there. So rename this. Weapons you get can have levels, so your weapons become outdated and need to pick up something different. This was something I thought about levels and durability. And I think that on the thing with durability, I think durability is not ideal, because when I play like Minecraft, I'm always constantly worried about my tools breaking, even if they're at high durability, and I don't want to have that kind of stress. And like Eternal said, durability is no fun. Personally, I think it's no fun. So instead of and there's in game development, game design, I should say, there's kind of 2 ways that you can incentivize the player: negative incentives and positive incentives. Positive incentives are like, oh, this choice is better for me, so I'm gonna pick it. Or there's negative incentives, which is, this choice is worse for me, so I'm not gonna do it. And it feels better to have positive incentives, right? You don't wanna be forced to not use something because it's bad. You want to pick something because it's good. Does that make sense? Am I explaining? does that make sense to you guys? I talked about this. I don't have a video on this. I should make a video on that, because that would be cool. Okay, let's make the boomerang projectile, and let's color this so we make sure we're actually holding the boomerang. Make the boomerang purple. How do you positively incentivize someone to get rid of the weapon they get used to? So, okay, yes, I am using Godot with C#, Lucy. But for JJ Crafter, I'm thinking that there's weapon variants, like flaming bow, or, it's like ones that have special abilities in themselves, and they're powerful. Like, the variants get more powerful, and so you're incentivized. Like, it'll have the same play style, but just extra power. Kind of levels, like what Eternal is saying, but not specifically a number level. So that's That's how I'm thinking. Just take two swords and put them against each other to make the boomerang. Yes, right. Good idea. Good idea. Here we go. Boomerangs, guys. Is this how boomerangs are made in real life? I think that's how boomerangs are made in real life. Genuinely, though, that might... Maybe that's how the first boomerang was made? Maybe? Or maybe they just took a stick and threw it. Okay, let's start scripting. Let's start scripting this. There's so many scripts in here. There's genuinely so many scripts. Okay. Enemies, projectiles. Whip projectile. Okay, so we're just... Go ahead, duplicate that. Boomerang, projectiles. Okay, so for behavior, let's think about this. Probably we'll have... What a boomerang will do is when it hits an enemy, instead of destroying itself, it will click the nearest... It'll not click. Target the nearest enemy and start flying toward them. But we also need to think about that if it hits a wall, it should also bounce. And then also, if it flies for too long, it should return. Each bounce does more damage. That's an interesting idea. Maybe that could be a boomerang variant. But that's actually I like that. But it also feels similar to the whip. Well, I'll think about that. We of course we'll need to do some play testing. Does the return timer reset after hitting an enemy? That's an interesting point. Because okay, let's pull out the pixel art so we can get an idea here. So when the player throws, say this is an enemy right here. Beautiful enemy. And this is the player. And then here's another enemy. Now the player can throw the boomerang out like this and just completely miss. And then we'll probably want it to return after a certain distance. So it'll start flying back. And probably maybe hit enemies on the way back? I don't know, we'll think about that in a second. Or it can throw it, hit an enemy, and then it starts its ricochet. Yes, a glaive is a good idea, but it starts its ricochet. And then I'm thinking maybe it has maybe we track instead of a timer, like a distance, where like it's bounced, it resets the timer, or distance, I guess it doesn't matter. And then it starts bouncing to the next thing and then it comes back. So yeah, I think happy the timer will reset after hitting an enemy. I think that would make sense. Bounce cap, like a Mario crossover. Okay, yeah, I think we can script that. That shouldn't be too difficult. We'll just need to override the physics, which should be possible very easily. And then the only thing I'm thinking about is when it hits something, we need to override the on hit bounce cap. Oh, you mean like a maximum? Yes, there will probably be a bounce cap of 2. And then after that, it'll probably stop bouncing. It'll probably still do damage to enemies, but stop bouncing. Like if it goes through an enemy. And then for distance, there'll definitely be a distance or timer cap. And then yeah, other variants. Yeah, we could have like a rubber boomerang that bounces like a ton. You know, we could totally do that. We can get kind of crazy with it, I think, later in the game when things get more powerful. I'm just trying to think of base ideas here. Okay, so let's go the boomerang projectile. Right now, projectiles have a lifetime. They destroy themselves after this. So, We'll give it a lifetime. We'll give it a long lifetime. That way we don't have to modify that code. A lifetime of, let's say. Let's give it a 4 lifetime. And then we'll just tell it to destroy itself later. Is single target or group target? Like as in specifically like targeting targeting enemies, because right now all the weapons pretty much have piercing on them. So you could say it's group target. They don't have really like area of effect. That's what I was looking for. Area of effect. So like you really only hit enemies if they're like real bunched up. You'll hit a group of them. There'll probably be weapons that do big stuff. Will there be more boss enemies? Oh, totally. There'll totally be boss enemies and AoE enemies. Totally. I have ideas, and for JJ Crafter, I have ideas for musical weapons, but I haven't implemented any yet. I had an idea for the pan flute. I described it earlier, where the projectiles would automatically target. Okay, boomerang projectile. I'm getting distracted. Focus up. Okay. So what we'll do is we need to modify the physics process. Oh, there's a lot here. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Velocity, global position. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, we'll worry about that in a second. Global position, no space. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, and speed slows down. Okay, so let's move this to its own function. We'll call this public handle movement or something. Public virtual void movement. And we'll just call movement up here. And then what we can do is we can override movement all right. See you, JJ Crafter. It's been awesome seeing you. And then we'll just override movement in this. Okay. So override movement. Yes, and then we can get rid of this get damage override. And also this and this. Yes, Project Squad is my main game. I've been working on it. It's complicated because technically I've been working on it for a few years, but at the same time, my skill has improved so much that I've restarted the project a few times. And so this iteration I've been working on for a few months. And I really hope I get this out before next year. That's my main goal. Because the game is great, but at the same time I've been working on it for a long time, and I'm ready to try new ideas. But I'm also happily developing the game. I'm not gonna abandon the game. I've made the promise to not abandon the game. So yeah, it is my main game. Although I do game jams, and I've done a collaboration with Dan Pose at Dan Pose, and that was 2 days. So yeah, and then school takes up time, so I never get to work on it as much as I would like. But now that summer's here, it's time to really go crazy. Okay, let's go ahead and put the delta in there. I just realized we gotta put that in. Also, visuals. I'm still working on the game's visuals. I think that for, technically, I'm calling the game in beta right now. I think beta 2, beta 3. I think we're in beta 3 right now. I think it looks good enough. but I want to make it look really good. I want to, yeah, add a lot of bloom. That's kind of the plan. We're gonna add some post-processing effects. Mostly, not post-processing. Yeah, post-processing, probably, and then add lighting. We're definitely lighting, because lighting just adds so much to games. It's ridiculous. And then also, okay, I don't want to go on too many tangents while I'm trying to script, because I'll never get anything done. Okay. I got this. I'm gonna focus up. Okay, so right now it's going at a speed. It's changing its position, and it's moving at that speed. Okay, that's good. We do want it to slow down. So I don't even know if we have to override this movement. The only thing we have to do is, or we don't actually have to override movement here. The only thing we have to do is have a on collision function here. On hits. That will do. Damage. Play projectile whip here. Blah blah blah. Okay. If not pierce. Maybe we just... we don't want to complicate this. We don't want to over-engineer this. So, what we'll do is we'll literally we'll take this. We'll put this in there. And we'll do on hit. Oh, but the issue is that break is there. I think we'll just have to do on hit outside of that. I don't think we care what we hit. Actually, we do care, because we want to go to the closest non-one that we just hit. So we'll go ahead and add no 2D, body, and that shouldn't do anything at the moment. We'll go into Boomerang, and what we'll do is we'll override the on hits, and we'll say, okay, when we've hit something, we need to get the next enemy. How we do that, I believe that enemies, I've set this up so that enemies have a group, and then we'll just be able to read that group and loop over that. So let's go, node groups. Okay, good, yes, enemies, great. Okay, so I forget, how do we, let's see, get group? Group? Nodes in group, maybe? Trying to see. I used this, I know I used this before, but I don't remember. I'll just look it up. Get nodes in group. I'm still sort of new to Godot. I've used Unity for a few years, and then, you know, we decided to try out Godot, and it's going great, but there's still things that I don't know, like get nodes in group. Could have easily just known that or remember that now, but no, it is what it is. Okay, so enemies is the group we want to get in. It's going to return an array to, we'll do to list. Okay. So we'll have a list of enemies equals that. And then use that node. To list of nodes. Okay, no, it is what it is. We are making sure this is an enemy, right? When the projectile hits. If it is damageable. No, we're checking if it's damageable. That's okay. Oh, this should all be enemies. Okay, so we'll just find the closest enemy. So we'll do if enemies dot count equals 0. We'll just return it so there's no enemies to rebound to. And then closest enemy. Let's see. Node closest. Oh shoot! I just realized because that's a node that doesn't have a position. We need to convert that. Just convert. Here, we'll do this. We can't do that. Okay. Scripting issues. Too iterable? I don't want to ask the AI. Can I cast? Okay, that works. Nice, we figured it out. Okay, and then we'll just find the closest one. So enemy closest. Enemy equals enemies dot find dot min by enemy. We'll do enemy dot global position at distance to distance squared to global position. Let's just print the closest enemy for now. We'll probably need to do a check where we make sure that the enemies aren't too far away, just so it doesn't go rebounding to, you know, things that are. I didn't even. Look at that. Look at that. Oh. Why is it D&D time? Did I forget? Is it time for D&D? Wait. Has my streaming gone into D&D time? Yes. I thought it was 9 p.m. Okay, guys. It is time. It's time for D&D. It's been a great stream. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna go play some D&D. Alright. See ya, everyone.